Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, the place you need to be if you want to learn how to market your business by leading from the front with thought leadership and personal branding. Now, if this is the first time we are meeting, my name is Jamila Bannister and I'm a personal branding strategist and coach. And in this week's video, I'm going to talk to you about numbers. The numbers that you need to monitor if you want to measure how well your content is doing and if it is actually performing the job it's supposed to perform. Now, when I first got into branding, it was in the corporate world and it was before a lot of social media and a lot of Facebook and a lot of all the analytics tools that we have. At least before we started to really dive deeply into the data as a required part of business activity. So as a result, it was a bit difficult for me to conceptualize how do I measure brand, because brand was always something that I thought of as perception, as the way people felt. And I mean, after all, on what scale do you measure people's perception, right? But as I transitioned into my own business and I recognized that all of the things I am doing to build my own brand and the advice I have to give to other people, it meant that I needed to know how I was doing. It meant that I needed to be able to tell other people what they needed to look for in their numbers and how they would know whether or not their content was actually doing the job that they needed it to do. Because of course, you must find a way to measure the efficacy of what you are doing. So in this video, I'm going to share with you 5 numbers that you should be monitoring so that you could get a sense of whether or not your brand is actually doing the things that you require it to do, and if your content is having the impact that you would like it to have. So the first number I always want you to monitor and work on is your level of engagement, aka your engagement rate. Now, this is not simply likes on a post, but this is liking, commenting, sharing, and any other type of interaction that a person may have on your post, right? So this goes beyond just the minimal likes and it really dives deep into people actually taking action based on that post. And calculating your engagement rate is pretty simple. All you have to do is get the total number of interactions on that post divided by the total number of followers or fans on that particular platform and multiply that number by 100, and there you get your engagement rate. And bonus tip, if that rate is anywhere between 1 and 3%, you are actually in really good stead. So don't see 1 and think, oh my gosh, it's so poor. It's actually good. That is what industry standards require to be a pretty decent engagement rate. And if you are above 3, oh my God, you are like a unicorn. So that is one number I definitely want you to take into consideration. It will really give you a sense of whether or not people are enjoying your content. And if your engagement rate is below 1, you know you have some work to do in that department. So the second number I want you to monitor is your click-through rate. Now, your click-through rate, or your CTR, is a measure of how much or how often people actually click on the links in your post to go further into your funnel. So for example, this could be clicking on your link tree to go to your website to read your blog, or this could be the swipe up feature in your Instagram and people could be taken through to see your offer, or this could even be somebody clicking on the link in a post to perhaps go to your website to make a purchase or to download your free lead magnet. So when we have a sense of how much people are actually clicking on our links, it gives us a sense of whether or not the content is performing in the way that it should, whether people are taking our instructions, or whether people are perhaps liking the lead magnet or liking the blog posts that we write. So people's actions always tell us a story. So monitor your CTR, or click-through rate. If you find that there aren't a lot of people clicking through, it's quite possible that you may have to work on your lead magnet, or even work on your call to action, or work on the post itself. Either way, the content is not performing in the way that you'd like it to perform, and you have some work to do there. Now, the third number I'd like you to monitor is your email open rates. Now, if you are sending emails as you should be, Monitoring your email open rates gives you a clear sense of whether or not people may be really interested in the subject line in your emails, or maybe they are looking forward to the content because you always send such informative and really encouraging emails, and that will give you a sense of whether or not your emails are performing in the way that they should. And as I'm speaking of emails, you also want to be sure that you check the click or the CTR or the click-through rate, as I mentioned in the point before, of the links you have inside of that email. That also tells you whether or not people are interested in the things that you are sending them. So you want to monitor your email open rates and your email click-through rates. Now, if you're looking to up your game with email, I definitely suggest Aweber. I use them, I love them, and they are really helpful. And you could even get started for free with them. So I'm going to put the link in the description if you want to grab your Aweber account. Trust me, guys, it's a no-brainer. The analytics are amazing. They are very helpful, and they're on 24/7 to offer you their support. And the fourth the fourth number I'd like you to monitor is the number of direct messages that you get in your inbox as a result of the things that you post. Now, direct messaging is pretty simple. You can tell how many messages you get based on something that you post. And you can measure the temperature of the questions that you get. So are people asking you about the things that you've posted? Are they telling you about some issues that they're facing, asking for your help, asking for your support? So that gives you a clear sense of whether or not people are enjoying the stuff that you post out. It gives you a clear sense of whether or not people are getting the message of the things that you're posting. And if you find that it's basically crickets, you know that you have to step up your game. So yeah, DMing and DMs are a great way to measure whether or not your content is having the impact that you'd like it to have. And the last, but most certainly not the least number that you should be monitoring is, of course, your revenue. Are people buying what you are selling? Are they clicking and going to your website? Are they inquiring as to the thing you have for sale? Are they putting their money where their mouth is? And of course, this is a great indication of whether or not people are liking you, whether they are trusting you, whether they believe you can solve their problems, and they're willing to part with their hard-earned money and trust you to give them a solution to the pain that they're feeling. So monitoring your revenues is a really good way to know whether or not you're having the impact. It is the ultimate way, to be very honest. Now, I want you to keep in mind that all of these numbers function at different levels of your funnel, and they will never happen in the same way. They will also never be equal in amount. So you might find a lot of likes, shares, and comments, but you probably wouldn't find as many DMs, and you certainly wouldn't find as many sales. And that's just the way it goes. It doesn't mean that the numbers aren't or the content isn't performing if you only get 2 sales as opposed to 10. That is certainly not the case, but you definitely want to keep monitoring it. And if you find yourself progressing at a certain rate and you find there's a fall off, you definitely can go back and examine the things you have been doing to see whether or not you are making impact, or whether or not you may be losing people, and where that break in connection is in fact happening. So guys, if you have been putting out content and you haven't really been monitoring, now is the time to really start. It's only when we measure the numbers can we actually make progress. So let me know if you enjoyed this video. Was it helpful to you? Are you already monitoring your numbers? And if not, would you really start paying attention to it now? I hope you will. So guys, let me know how you feel. Put your comments in the comment section below. I look forward to it. I love your questions. I love your feedback. And thank you to all the people who checked out my last video. Keep coming back for great and amazing content on personal branding, thought leadership, and leading from the front. And I will see you in the next one. Ciao.